Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Wanted to pop in and talk to you about self-love in tough times. I posted earlier an email that I sent out to all of the students in Tony Gaskins Academy. And I've just kind of really been quiet on this and paying attention and just kind of watching. I've always kind of been a student of human behavior. And one thing about me is I really I try my best to be very sensitive to situations and to be authentic in everything that I'm doing. I also believe that everybody has a calling, everybody has a lane. Not everybody is called to stand on the front line of every situation. And you kind of have to know your strengths and where you are. And at the same time, I realize that sometimes there's things that's going on and certain people may be feeling it so deeply or experiencing it, and they're right in the thick of things, and they're like, how can anybody else be talking about anything else? If you go on Instagram, you still see comedians doing skits and making jokes. If you turn on the sports shows, they're still talking sports. If you look any area, the finance teachers, they're still talking about how to invest in this, what to buy, what not to buy. It's like everybody has their lane and you stick to what you know. Me, I kind of focus in the areas of life, love, and business, but 99% of my questions are on love and relationships, so that's what I end up addressing and answering. But it's a different type of, self-love that I'm thinking about right now, and it's kind of, stemming from the email I sent earlier. And as I've been watching and I'm looking around, I see a lot of selfishness. And a lot of times we confuse self-care with selfishness. When self-care isn't selfish, but self-care isn't also disregarding the well-being and the health and happiness of others. And one thing I'm seeing, me being in Florida right now and just seeing everything going on with people really just not caring. Like, I was picking up a takeout order, and one of y'all's drivers for DoorDash or Uber Eats, he got out coughing. And I was like, man, you coughing and these people trying to stay in and have you picking up their food, but you coughing. Then I went in the restaurant and it was takeout, but you walk in to get it. So when I walked in, you're in there and it's more than 10 people in there. And it's a closed quarter, so you can't be 6 feet apart. And I'm like, wow. So this is almost just as this worse. And I started to just look around and just see so much selfishness. And then I started to notice how it was a lot of sales going on. People, I'm on a lot of mailing lists, so I'm getting mailing lists, emails about buying luxury items, private jet card, luxury vehicles. And I'm like, man, and they're writing me personally as a person, not just like a random email. And I'm like, man, in the middle of everything we're going on, people are selling luxuries. And when we really need to be buckling down and focusing, and I'm looking at all of the companies and even the big companies, the Bergdorf Goodman, in New York, giving 15% off, 25% off luxuries. When people are in the store, going wild trying to find bread or eggs or water. I mean, we had to go to so many stores to find a pack of chicken. I'm like, man, it's very real. But something really struck me and it hit me hard. And I was like, you know what? In a time like this, you have to make it personal. And for one, the first thing you need to do is really have some empathy for others who are going through in a more real way than you. So you may be going through, but it always gets worse. And so you have to sit and think about that and really put put their shoes on your foot. And as you do this, and I just kind of went down the line, looking at my sister-in-law one of my sister-in-law who she's in NYU law, which that's like one of the top 5 law schools in the country, and has just been working so hard to get to this point to graduate from law school. And now her graduation is most likely going to be canceled. Looking at my other sister-in-law who graduated from med school and is working in Houston, and she's in the thick of things in her residency, doing all these tests, working all these hours in the middle of this. Then me working with college sports teams and seeing how hard they work. One of the teams I'm working with set a record in their school for their wins, and we're getting ready to try to make a historic run, and their games canceled for the rest of the year. And some of those guys are NBA hopefuls, and they didn't get to finish their campaign for the NBA, and maybe haven't made their full statement that they wanted to make in the regular season. Others were seniors who their last game, if that's their last game, would have been a loss after having so many wins and doing so well. So I started to go around and then seeing people and hearing about people who their mother, their father, came down with the situation and dealing with it, and sick and intensive care and all of these things, and the people who lost their job, who lost money. You think about all of this, and I think a lot of times you can think from the small things that you may think are trivial but really means a whole lot to somebody else, all the way to the big things like someone losing their life. And so when you go through that and you have that sense of empathy, then you start to look within, especially if it's not you going through something that is life altering. Then you have to look within and you have to say, well, okay, if I'm looking at this whole situation, what is the lesson that I'm pulling from this? What can I take from this? What is this saying to me? So I want to talk to you, and I believe in staying in my lane just because, so I'm still going to be answering relationship questions and talking about the foundation, because in the lane that I'm in, people losing their lives. Like this right here, what we're going through is not stopping the situations that's happening behind closed doors in relationships that are not doing good. People still losing their lives in my lane. So I also still have to stay true to the work that God has called me to do. But in the midst of this, as you're thinking about self-love, self-care, you trying to reset, you trying to understand some things, I want you to really identify the message for you and for your family. How have you been living? What have you been taking for granted? Have you been selfish or have you been selfless? Thinking about all the people in Florida who came in from other states and throughout Florida to go to the beach. And you close quarters, you out there, this thing is serious, and you at the beach. The symptoms could take 14 days, and then so you go out there, contract it, then go home or back to college and spread it to your dorm mates, spread it to your elderly family members, all because of selfishness that's saying, I need to have a good time. I need to have my spring break. I need to be able to get out the house. I need to be able to do this. I want to do this. And we're operating from selfishness. On the other side, in times like this, what you're going to see people do is operate from greed, where it's just selling. Then you're going to see some people operate like wolf in sheep's clothing. Whereas, hey, got this here for you. It's free webinar, free teleseminar, free course. But as soon as we come through this, I'm about to be selling. Trying to get you to buy up everything. And so we see vulnerability, and a lot of people want to prey on that. So when I see that, it makes it hard to even be genuine, because you don't want a genuine act of saying, hey, this offering that I have is now 20% off, 50% off. It's hard to even give from a genuine place, because you don't want to be lumped in with someone who everybody may know is a snake oil salesman and not being genuine and just trying to prey on the panic and the desperation. But when you sit down, what you're going to do when you look around and just analyze every aspect, consider the loss, consider everybody's loss, not just your loss. Consider everybody's loss. Think about all the seniors who will not get to have a graduation ceremony after all of their hard work. Something that you may just overlook. Think about the people who lose a loved one to natural causes that has nothing to do with what we're dealing with, but still can't have a proper burial, a proper funeral for their loved one because of the rules that we're under. Go through and try to sit down and consider the struggle far beyond your own. You may be going through yourself, but even go deeper than your own story, than your own struggle. And what this is going to do is it's going to help you understand just the plight of the world. It's going to help you be more empathetic. It's going to open your heart and open your mind so that when you are out and about and you're moving and shaking in the world, after this is over, you move differently because you realize that you never know what someone else is dealing with. I got a green light the other day, and I wait like a second because I just don't like, punching the gas. So I wait like a half a second, then I ease on the gas and I pick up. My speed picks up. As soon as the thing turned green, I went to move my foot from the brake to the gas. Lady behind me, and she's on the horn. I look up and she's in the mirror and she's driving like this. And we're on just a side street. And so I end up right behind her because she gets out around me. She goes around me, cuts back in front of me. And she was literally going up the street and turning into her apartment complex. And my neighborhood is a little bit past her. So I'm like, you weren't rushing to the hospital that's on this road. You broke the speed limit, got mad to get around me for what? To get behind another car and get stuck. But people are dealing with things a lot of times that we don't even understand. We don't even realize. And so me doing these practices of trying to put someone else's shoe on my foot and walk a mile in their shoes, it has helped me be more emotionally intelligent and to keep my wits about me when I'm going through normal life, everyday life. The other thing is, if you have not been hit directly yet, then you need to deepen your sense of gratitude. Deepen your sense of gratitude. A little earlier today, everybody has situations and things going on, but I posted in my on my community page to my members of the Blessed Tribe on this channel, and I said, hey, just drop me your cash out. And I could only bless 50 people. But I sent them a little blessing that, could buy a pack of water, some bread, a pack of meat, and maybe a few dollars in gas, $5-10 in gas. I sent all them 50 people, and it was the first 50 who responded. It let me know, hey, they were on their phone, they happened to be paying attention to my page, they saw me post it, and some of the people were not in my cash app. Some of the people were people who have actually blessed me. And so it felt good to be giving back to a few people who had blessed me. And beyond being a member of the Blessed Tribe. And so I saw that, and I'm like, you know what? each of us got to find a way. It may not be money, but it may be a smile. My wife saw a man in the grocery store, and he was elderly, and he was kind of moving real slow, and he was looking for, I think, some water or some toilet paper. And she had just saw some at the Walgreens up the street, and it was none in the grocery store. And everybody, she was like, it was some people that was just like moving around, just rude and, pretty much pushing people out the way. And she saw a lady acting like that. She said, I'm not going to tell her anything. But the man, she went up to him and said, hey, you looking for toilet paper or whatever it was? It's at the Walgreens. I was like, oh, really? And he said immediately he got himself together, and she said he walked on out the store. Just doing something like that, just slowing down to smile or to help somebody is maybe what you are called to do. But on the other side of this, as you are deepening your sense of gratitude, and as you are being more empathetic towards other people who are going through and dealing with real, very real situations, whether it's a loss of a family member, their own health, a job, money, an opportunity, something that meant something to them, an event, a ceremony, whatever it may be. As you are feeling that, also take the time in your stillness. I want to remind you, this is not a vacation. This is not a vacation. This is not a break. Don't take it lightly. Allow this time to where, even if it hasn't knocked on your front door, allow this time to sit you down, to give you some stillness so that you can sit still and say, what do I need to learn? What do I need to learn? Because it's a lesson on every level. And there's always, with every level, there's a new devil. But before the next level, there's a lesson. And the way life is, it will give you the test first and the lesson after. So we're being tested right now, but you got to get the lesson from this test. And a lot of times we don't think about it like that. But truthfully, we don't pay attention to the signs, and then we're tested and we fail the test. But with that failing test, there's a lesson that's preparing you for the next test. So think about that and sit down and say, you know what? What do I need to shift in my life? What do I need to change in my life? What do I need to do differently? What do I need to let go? Who do I need to let go? See, in this time, you got the opportunity to not answer every text message, to not answer every call, to say, hey, I'm resting, I will sleep, I'm focusing, I'm diving deeper, I'm writing my book, I'm working on my company, starting my company, I'm starting my blog, whatever you may be doing. And it's going to look different for everybody. So you might be in a space to where you need to create your second stream of income. If you're working on the job and the future is uncertain with your job, with your employer, you may need to be creating your second stream of income, whatever that may be. You may need to be investing in yourself, to take a training or a course, or to talk to a mentor or a coach or a therapist or a counselor. You may already have the knowledge and haven't acted on it. You may need to start your LLC or your nonprofit incorporation. You may need to write your book. You may need to do nothing and sit still and just receive clarity about this situation and pull the message out of the mess. You may have to sit there. And as I was sitting, I woke up like 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m. I need a little nap right now. And as I was sitting there, I got my phone, got on YouTube, listening to the live. It was some things that was going live, like updates, breaking news and stuff like that. I would listen to that. getting some updates. And then I was like, you know what? I need to turn this off and just let me just hear. Let me just hear from the Spirit. Let me just sit and get a message. And then it started to dawn on me. I started to see. And it was kind of like Joseph in the book of Genesis, to where I think it was the king who had a dream. And he told him about the dream, and he said, listen, this dream means you're about to have 7 years of just blessings, abundance. It's going to be so amazing. And then you're going through 7 years of famine. So in this abundance, you need to put up 10%, 20%. I can't remember what percentage it was. Maybe it was 20% of everything, of all the harvest, of all the money, of you need to put up 20%, because when that famine hits, everybody's land will be barren and they will be coming to you. They will be coming here. And so he had the wisdom, the foresight to be able to see that something was coming. So right now, what people are going through, there was a lesson in the blessing. A year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and some people were already ready and prepared for this very moment. It was a lesson. And that's what you got to get, because as long as the earth is spinning, what goes around comes around. History repeats itself. So you get a lesson right now. This lesson and this change and this shift and this growth that you can have right now is going to benefit you 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. You may birth something in this season, in what we're going through right now. You may birth something that is your saving grace 10 years from now. You may birth something now that builds and grows and changes the trajectory of your life. And that's what you have to realize. It was 2007 that I wrote my first book. And 2008 that I started my first company. In 2008, there was a crash. It was a recession. But now, what I built, what I started in 2007 and 2008 is sustaining me now in 2020. And that's what I mean. You have to get still. Don't treat this like a vacation. Don't treat this just like a break. Okay, take your breath. Take your breath. Get you some extra sleep. Sleep in. Do what you need to do. But understand, there's no rest for the weary. Understand that you have to walk and not faint. That you got to keep doing the work. You got to keep digging deeper. You have to keep being attentive. And you got to ask for wisdom and understanding. And get clarity around your situation. You may not understand the heavens and high places. You may not understand what's all going on. There may be no rhyme or reason for what's going on around you, why it's happening, how it's going to stop, and all of those things. You may not be able to answer the greatest mysteries of the world. But if you sit still and you are quiet and you give yourself some time for some introspection, you will be able to uncover your own issues that need to be addressed, that need to be worked. You're going to have some revelations in your life, in your single life, or in your dating life, or in your relationship, your marriage, in your work life, your corporate life, your job life, entrepreneurial life, whatever it is, you will have some revelations. And it hit me. It hit me. I said, wow, okay. What you trying to tell me? What you showing me? What you showing me? And I had to sit and I start to see it, and it started to be revealed to me what I need to do for me and my household. And so I'm sharing this today to say, don't take this lightly. See, in the eye of the storm, it's always peaceful. So you got to get to the eye of the storm. It's a mess all around you, might be in you, might be right next to you, or it might be still far from you. It's a mess. But in that mess can become a message. And that's what that pain can birth purpose. That's what you have to sit still for. You may have to write it down. You may have to get on the phone and share it with your closest loved one, or if you're married, your spouse. But you're going to have to get that lesson. And what you're going to have to do is shift. See, shift from selfishness to self-love and to selflessness. Right now, I'm not a billionaire. I'm not a billionaire, and money don't grow on trees. But I chose, and I said to myself, and this is something I did in my life. You know, they have tips at 15%, then they went to 18%, then they went to 20%, then they went to 22%. Some receipts show you all the way up to 22% tip. You know what I do? I tip 25%. And the reason why I say I'm gonna go above and beyond, because I want to unlock abundance in my life. So if my meal is $20, if I give 15%, which is standard, then I'm at $23. If I give, so that's $3 in tip. 30% would be $6. 25%, what's that? $3.50. Y'all help me with that math. Okay, I got it. 10, 5, 3. So $4. So, and forgive me my math wrong now. No. Help me with this math now. 20, 10, 20, $4, $5. Hey, y'all got to forgive me. I'm doing this off the top of my head. So if my meal 20 and I give the standard, if I just give 20%, I'm giving 22. If I give 25%, I'm giving that 2 plus another half. Another 5, which is not half. And so if I give $25, I ask myself and I say, listen, is this $3? Is this $3 that I can give, is it gonna hurt me more than it's gonna help him or her who's receiving it? Because if this person is working in the service industry and I know what I do and the blessings that I have, I know this person doesn't earn what I earn. I know they may not have the security that I have. They may not have the investments that I have. They may not have the amount of streams of income that I have. And any day could be their last. Like in a situation right like now, they're out of work. But because I thought abundantly, I added something, and if more people thought like that, everybody giving just a little more adds up to a lot. But what that did is bigger than what I did for that person. And y'all gotta forgive me for that long math, and I probably still got it wrong. But that just goes to show you, you ain't gotta be a genius to be blessed in life. But what it did, it was bigger for me. It took the ceiling. It broke through the ceiling in my life. It took the chains off of my life. It took the limits off of my life because it unlocked my mind. And I went from scarcity minded to abundant minded. And when you are abundant minded, now you go from broke pocketed and broke minded to rich pocketed and rich minded, wealthy pocketed, wealthy minded. So this is bigger than just giving and all of that. It's about how you think, how you see the world. So in this time, shift from selfishness to selflessness. Shift from greed to giving. Shift from resentment to love. Shift from fear to faith. Shift from scarcity to abundance. See, take this time to see where you need to heal at, where you need to grow at, where you need to give at, where you need to go, and get that in your spirit. And when you get that in your spirit, what you're going to do in this season is you're going to start to break the chains. You're going to start to break the chains. You're going to set yourself free. You're going to unlock your mind. Because here you see, I didn't graduate college. I went to college. 8 years. Some of those years was three of those years, or 3.5 of those years were full time. The other 4.5, 5 years was part time, like 6 credits a semester. And never walked the stage with a bachelor's, but yet still found success and significance in my life. I say that to say that it's about your mindset, and not just your mindset, your heart set, your heart's posture, as they call it. Where is your heart at? And this what I'm noticing right now. This situation right here really shows you where people operate from. If they operate from greed, if they operate from lack, from scarcity, from selfishness, from ignorance, it shows you where people operate from. I saw a picture of a lady and she had like 100 rolls of toilet paper. And it's like, how many butts do you have? Now, I would hope, but I doubt it, I hope she had that whole carton, because she shopping for a whole bunch of group homes that she works for. Or she was doing it for all of her family. They're just going to everybody's house. Hey, here's a roll, here's a roll, here's a roll. I hope that's what she was doing. But you know what? A lot of people weren't. Just like the guy that made national news, who went in all these stores, spent thousands and bought 17,000 or something like that bottles of sanitizer, and was price gouging on the web. Something he paid $1, $2 for, charging $8 up to $35 for on the web. Guess what? Will never be successful in life. Not real success. And every success that comes, unless he makes a change in his life, he'll lose it all. Because he's operating from greed, from selfishness. And that's what you got to realize right now. To where if you go in and it's the last 2 cases of water, and you happen to get there 1 second before this other person, do you take one case and say, you know what, you can have the other case? Or do you grab 2 cases just because you got there first? See, when you think abundantly, Erica, I ain't gonna say your last name just in case your cousin asks you for a loan. But when I was sitting there blessing people on Cash App today, and I blessed them 50 people on Cash App, and in the midst of me giving, I was being blessed. People like Erica, and it was somebody else sending me Cash Apps to say, hey, Erica message said, because you're blessing others. That's what I mean by that. When I got off of the Cash App, I went to my email, and there was blessings in my email. Blessings, monetary blessings in my email of products selling. People signing up on TonyGaskinsAcademy.com. Something that I had a vision for 2010, sustaining me 10 years later. But in the midst of me giving, I come out of the app giving, and walk right back into blessings. And so that's what I have learned this year. I knew it, but I enacted it this year. Is an abundant mindset. There is no competition. There is no lack. There is no scarcity. There is no recession. Even when those things are literal, it can't be literal in your mind. Your mind has to be full of self-love, love for others, abundance, compassion, empathy. You have to be operating from the right place in your life. You got to be slow to anger. You got to be slow to judge, quick to love, slow to speak, quick to listen. You got to be quick to seek to understand, then be understood. You got to shift your posture and your position in your life in order to come out on the other side better than you were when you went in to this situation. So hey, this Tony Gasky. Now y'all know I could go now. Y'all know I normally go on an hour. And y'all forgive me now. Y'all forgive me about that math. You know, hopefully you fast forward through it. I had you stuck right there. But I want to just give you a real life example of what I've been doing in my life. I've been tipping 25% even when I don't have it. They say, when you do takeout, should you tip? Like, no, you don't tip. Most people don't tip. I tip 10%, sometimes 15% on takeout. And I just been shifting. It's not that I'm wealthy and all of that. I just give from a place in my heart. And I do. And I think about others, and I think about, okay, is it going to hurt me more than it's going to help them? And it's been life-changing. Not being selfish, not being greedy, not being inauthentic, but being authentic, being real. Like understanding every day is not a day to tweet. Every day is not a day to post on Instagram. Every day is not a day to just talk about random stuff. To be authentic and to really have your finger on the pulse of what's going on and really be there and be in that space when you need to, when you have to. But then also understanding when you got to do what you call to do and being able to find a healthy balance and not be tone deaf and not be insensitive and not try to take advantage or to capitalize on situations when people may be weak or worried or stressed or panicking or vulnerable. And I want you to think about that in every aspect of your life. In your singleness or in your relationship, if you're a parent, on your job, your coworker, what have you, employee, if you're the boss, whatever it may be, in every aspect of your life, evaluate your heart's posture and where you are operating from and make a decision to grow and to change for the better so that you can take your life to the next level on the other side of what we're going through together around the world. Hey, this is Tony Gaskins. God bless you. We'll talk soon.